Welcome to the Gym of All Trades channel. Glad you're here today. Happy post 4th of July. Hope you guys aren't fireworked out and too tired for your day. I hope you got a day off. I don't have a day off today. Unfortunately, I'm going to go take care of some customers, and so I'm going to try to get a video out before I head on. Well, glad you stopped by the channel. My name's Jim, and I'm a forex trader. I trade on the foreign exchange as well as the crypto market. I actually started learning to trade on the crypto market, and I've been trading for the last year on the Forex and growing as a trader all the time, and I'm sharing my knowledge with you. I'm sharing what I'm learning and helping you guys grow as traders as well. I'm a teacher by just kind of way I've always been wired, and so it's a great channel to come and not only to get technical analysis, but also just to to learn along the way, not to just take somebody else's information, but to learn how to get it for yourself. So yeah, so we're gonna look at Litecoin this morning and Bitcoin a little bit later on, but I want to spend a little time on Litecoin today and just show you what I've been looking at. And you can kind of take a peek at this zoomed out chart. And that's what we want to do. We want to zoom out today and just take a peek at Litecoin. I want to show you some interesting things I've seen, and I want to tell you where I think Litecoin is headed. All right, with that being said, don't forget I'm not a financial advisor. I am a chartist. That needs to be the name of the channel, the chartist. Okay. All right. Well, let's jump in. We're looking here at the daily chart of Litecoin. I just want to step back and kind of just take a peek at what it looks like. Just kind of look at Litecoin's patterns, its modus operandi, and whatnot. So, what you'll notice here is that we had this push up here. We had a substantial correction, and then we went parabolic. Okay, you'll notice that before we had that substantial correction, it actually broke the trend line. You can see my blue line; it came down to this level. Let me measure that for you and show you the distance of that correction. It was about to the 618. So it came from the bottom of this move to the top of this move. It came down 61%. 61.8% of that move. It retraced before it went down. Excuse me. It's the morning time, and you know how I am with yawns. So just by now, those of you who are new, sorry about that. I just, as a trader, you don't get a lot of sleep, but I try not to. All right. So anyway, but before that substantial correction, you notice that we had several intermediate peaks here that were fairly substantial themselves, and then we had some sideways movement, and then we headed on up. I'm just kind of looking at that and just looking at the shape of that and the angle of that, and you can just kind of see what we've been doing here in Litecoin as well. What I notice here. Trying to get them both on the screen in a way that you can see them. Let me go to the 2 day. It'll compress everything. There we go. I can see that better now. I hope you can as well. We got a peak here, peak here. Notice we've just got a couple bumps. That's kind of a substantial guy there. That's a substantial guy there. Of course, the shape. So the shape of this is quite different. You can tell. But what I'm expecting and what I'm looking at, the way just looking at it, and again, that's what I've been doing for the past 2 days, just stepping back, looking at this puzzle, and say, okay, what do we need? What does it look like needs to happen? Well, it looks like this thing needs to come on down to this trend line, even peak below it, and then head on up. That's what I'm expecting. That I believe is going to be our 61% retrace. You say, well, what about this guy? Well, that wasn't a 61% retrace. In fact, let's look at that. How big was that retrace? That retrace was only to the 30. It was only about 38%. It retraced about 38% of the entire move. Not really a substantial correction for a two wave, if somebody's counting that as a two wave. I don't count that as a two wave. In fact, 38% moves generally are about more like four waves. And so my main count here is we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've put in the 5. We need to come on down before we go up. And so I'm expecting a 50 to 61% move to the downside. We've already begun it. This is what I believe. I don't know this. I don't have a crystal ball, but we have made it down about 23% of the full move so far. In order to come down to 50%, if we break the trend line, just wicking through it, that comes down to $86, and that's 50%. Now, what's interesting is that the bottom of this correction right here is right at the 618. That's a nice support region. Looking like $71. Now, I don't know if it's going to go down that low or not. I don't know if we're going to break this trend line or not. It's a possibility, but I don't know that to be a fact. I'm just talking with you. This is what it did before. Doesn't mean it has to happen. Listen, and that's something we need to talk about. Just because the market's done something before doesn't mean it has to do it again. Um, you know, Certainly there are patterns, there are fractals, but they're just fractals, and they're just they are. It doesn't mean, and we shouldn't base our entire market strategy based upon because we see a pattern that has played out before. It doesn't mean it has to play out the same way and in the same uh, the entire time. It could, but I don't know that I've never seen a chart that plays out exactly the same all the time, the entire way through. Even if you see similarities, there will be differences. And so we want to make sure that we don't base our market strategy on fractals, but we can use them to say, okay, this is what it kind of did in the past. Can we expect something like that in the future? Possibly, but it'll be like it. It'll be in the same vein, but it won't be the exact same thing. And so I want to be careful there. Well, what I want to now do is just kind of zoom in here and just take a peek. At the count and just kind of start subcounting this and show you what I'm looking at here. And then I want to subcount that move. So when I work with Elliott Wave, I always start with a zoomed out picture. Okay, and then I work my way in, and that's what I suggest you do as you start to learn to count. The pattern I would suggest that you do is just step back on the 1 day or the 2 day chart, and just look and see what you have. Where are the major peaks? There's a major peak there. There's a major peak there. Here's a major peak here. Draw a couple trend lines. That'll help you. I've drawn. You can see I've drawn several trend lines here. Some more significant than others. I have bolded the most significant ones that I believe. And so as I see these trend lines, I've drawn them, and then we've got a touch, we've got a touch, we've got a touch. That's a significant trend line. We've got a touch, we've got a touch, we've got a touch. We got another touch. That's a significant trend line there. So draw what's significant, and then just pay attention. Okay. So here's a major peak. There's a major peak. There's a major peak. So to me, my count looks like this. This is one. That's two. That's the third wave. That's the fourth wave. We just finished five. That's what I believe. Uh, that's where I believe we are. Let's just change this to super millennium. Let's get this wave. Let's do black because black is awesome, and let's turn the wave off. There you go. So there's my count. Right now, that's my major count. So that's the way I'm going to. I want to ask myself now that I have my bias in my count. This is my bias. It doesn't mean it's the right count, because you know what? This could be three. Okay, or we could be finishing three up here, something like that. Is that a possibility? Yeah, it's a possibility. I don't think it is. It's too disproportional. But is it a possibility? Yeah. So the question is, we have to ask ourselves, does the sub count support it? Does the sub count support it? Now, the big problem with the three count, and I think everybody's having a problem here, is that let me see, this two wave, the bottom of that guy is somewhere right here. This is a very tiny one. But it's one here. Let's zoom in here. Let's go into the 8 hour, get some more detail on that chart. There we go. This right here is just so stinking weird in the way it was made, that it's just really hard to subcount. But it looks like we got a one, two, three. Uh, this could be four sideways movement, and then five. That's just super hard to count. I can't even begin to count it, to be honest with you. I think everybody's having a hard time with that sub count. So yeah, there's a question mark here, okay, in the count. So we understand that. But again, what I do, and the way I've operated and the way I trade, is that I have found that what it looks like from a distance is what it is, even if the sub count isn't perfect. The problem is what I'm seeing, problem in my ability to interpret it, not so much in the wave itself. So I'm not I don't. While I hold to the Elliott wave rules, I generally err on the side of what it looks like and what it's shaped like, because shape is really, to be honest with you, in my opinion, more important than the actual like down to the minuscule count. And so that's the way I operate. I have had very good success operating that way. In fact, I've been right most of the time operating that way. In fact, when I try, when I'm wrong, when I try to nail down every tiny move, I mean down to the minuscule micro count. And so just sharing that with you. That's a lot of Elliott Wave traders that might be watching this, who've been taught by more strict technicians. They're going to balk at that, but you put it to the test, and you see what you see, and we'll see in time if I'm right or not. I could be completely wrong. I acknowledge that, and I'll admit it when I am. But this is what I think is happening. All right, so let's zoom in and look at this wave. That's kind of a difficult wave to analyze as well. But let's jump in, and I'm just gonna in front of you do this count and what I think is going to happen. Now, when you count the waves, you need to use your measurements along the way. Now, so you need to use your fib extension tool just to measure these waves. So my first thought was this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This whole thing is a one wave, and I've counted it that way before. But here's my problem with that count. My problem with that count is that the top of this wave does not come to. It comes to the 1276. It doesn't reach the 1618. But the length of this wave is very long, and so my bias is saying, okay, this is probably not the case. That's probably not the whole one wave. So what could it be? Well, I believe that this move right here is the one wave right here. So let's mark that off as the 1, 2. Okay, now if that's the case, now you can see with the 1618 came to here. Okay, and then you've got the 2618 here. So we've got two options. We've got one option that says this is the three wave up here. So this is 1, 2, 3. Let me just go ahead and put that on the screen for you. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a 4 here just for now. And then what is that, 5 up there, and we got to change the size here. Hold on one second. Let's go to minor. There we go. Yeah, we'll do minor, sure. And let's change the color. What color do we want, guys? How about can you see orange? Nah, orange isn't very good. I like orange, but how about this nice pink color? Yeah, there you go. I can see that pretty well. Hope you can. All right. So we may have to shift these around, but so if that's the 3, there needs to be, and this 2 actually needs to be right down here, because this doesn't break break that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here, see if we can see what we can see here. There we go. So if we've got a 1, a 2, now we've got a 1, 2 of the 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 complete waves. There's a motive wave there. So I'm going to stick with that. Let's see if I can get the 3, put it right on it. I'm going to stick with that as a 3 for now. And this came down for an ABC 4. And now we've got a 1, 2, 3. This whole thing would be a 3, 4, and we made a 5. That's the way I'm counting it. So we have an extended 5th wave. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Someone might say, well, yeah, I thought the 3 wave was supposed to be the longest wave. No, the Elliott wave rule is not the 3 wave being the longest wave. The Elliott wave rule is that the 3 wave can never be the shortest wave. It is most often the longest wave, but it can never be the shortest wave. In fact, in this count, we've had so many extended fifths, it's been crazy. So that is the way I'm counting this, and I believe the sub count does bear that out. Again, I'm not going to jump in and take an hour with you and show you all the subcounts of that. But if you want, let's do this as an exercise. I'm going to jump in and take each wave, each one of those major waves, and just give you the subcount for that, and not to go any deeper than the subcount of these major waves here. So let's do this. Let's go here. We actually, to get the subcount of that first one, we're going to have to go to the 15-minute chart. I'm only doing this. I'm only doing this right here as an exercise in teaching and how to just Elliott wave counting, because I know a lot of you are starting to try to do this, and I know you're trying to learn and get it. So let's see if we can do that here. Where's the rest of that guy? There we go. So this first little wave right there, you can see a 1, 2, very small 1, 2, followed by a 3, 4, or 5, or let's see, um, or is this whole thing 1? Let's put the fibs on that and measure that guy. Yep, that doesn't measure right really. So um, doesn't measure right at all. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and an extended fifth. That's what you've got. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there in the fifth. So there's an extended fifth. So there's a 1 wave. You see 5 waves there. Let's see if we can see 5 waves here. Um, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and look at that, a 5th wave again. Let's make that smaller, micro, and let's make it blue. There you go. Let's go to the next wave. See if we see five waves there. Now this is I need to go out to a larger time frame because this is an extended wave. Again, this is the way I'm seeing it. I could be wrong here. Recognize that. Obviously, I could be wrong. Always could be wrong. I acknowledge that. 1. Well, let's try it again. 1, 2. This is 3. That's 4. Came up for 5. You say, Jim, why didn't you come up here and make this to 5 since this broke the high here? Because that's a 3 wave. This is an expanded flat. I've talked about that in other videos. You can go back and check out those waves. Find I would say somewhere around the 24th, 23rd, 24th, 25th. The videos around there in June 24th, 23rd, 24th, 25th, I probably mentioned that was an expanded flat then, and I've been saying that for a while, and so that's what I'm seeing here. This is an ABC here, and so what I'm expecting, where we are right now in the count, then I hope you appreciate just me doing that in front of you. I hope you're still tuning in. I don't want you to tune out because now we're going to get to the updated stuff. So that validates the count. That's at least a count, my working count. It's where I am in my hypothesis here. And so I want to zoom out a little bit more now and say, okay, what's going on now? Well, we have a correction, and it's coming down fairly steep. It is in proportion to to become larger than this, which would be good. So if that's my 4 wave, then this big correction needs to be larger than that. So that's a good test number 1, just proportionality. All right, number 2, what shape is this making? Well, we've got an ABC right here. We've got an expanded flat there. It's fairly deep, and it's beyond standard extensions, but it's okay. But what I'm seeing here then is most likely we have a W wave. This could be an X wave, or we could be making the X wave here. Not sure. And then the Y wave. I believe the X wave could be in. Okay, this is 3 waves. You see it 1, 2, 3 right there. I don't count 5, I count 3. Now you say, well, there is a wick that goes up, and so that 5th wave, yeah, you can get it, but it sucks and it's ugly. So I'm going to count that as an X wave for now. It could be, it might not be, I recognize that. And then we need to see another ABC working here. And so right now, my count is we're working the B wave. Or the B wave could be finished, but I'm not sure that's the case. But we're working the B wave. And then we need to see a wave come on down here to at least $99. That's my first target, $100. My first target. My next target is $90. And I've got a deeper target than that as well. Okay, so let's jump in here and look and see what we see. All right. Make sure I had to turn my mic off. I just coughed. I didn't want to cough in your ear. We're still on. Okay, good. All right, so now what do we see here? Well, when I look at this, I see 5 waves right here to the downside. Now this is higher than that, so this can't be 1 2. So this looks like it needs to be 1 2. But that's awful hard there. But we got a 1 2 3 4 5. That could be 5 waves for an A, and then we need 3 waves for a B. And so let's take a peek and see if we've got 3 waves for a B. It only came up to the 786. It didn't even make it to the one-to-one extension, which is, for me, I don't like it, but it's certainly possible. But you can see a 3-wave delineation there. It's fairly clear, the 3-wave delineation. Now, how else could that be counted? It could be counted as an extended 5th wave in the first wave. So here's another way it could be counted, so I wanted to talk to you about that. So it could be that this right here, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to the 30-minute. It gives me more detail on the chart. And come on, try again here. Having a hard time. All right, so this could be, this is a 1 wave. Okay. You see how this came up to the 1618, so this is a 1 2 3. That's a 4 wave. It didn't break the plane of the 1. It only wicked through it. I mean, it broke the plane, but this is just a wick. So where the candles meet, they don't break. And then we have a 5th wave to the upside. It looks very 3-wave-ish, but we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. It looks like we have 1 2 3, and then it came down for 4, and then 5 right there. If I went to a smaller count, you'd probably see it. So I don't like it, but that's a possibility. So that could be 5 waves to the upside. Okay. So what does that mean? We need to see 3 waves to the downside. Well, we might be seeing that right now. And so when we measure this right here, we've got an A. That could be the B, and you can see. Let's see. Is it right? Yeah, there we go. We got A, B, and now we've got C. You got 5 waves for a C right there, clear as day. The only problem I have with that is that, I don't have a huge problem with it. It came down to the structure level here. It didn't break the 1618. It did break the 1276. So if we begin going up here from here, and this is a 1 2 or something like that, or this is the beginning of a 1 2. This might be 1 2 3 4 5, then down. As long as we don't break this bottom right here, and this is what I want you guys to be looking for today and tomorrow. As long as we don't break this bottom and make a new low, we start heading up from here. Most likely we've got a 1 wave or an A wave. This is the A wave followed by the B wave, or a 2 wave. So that's a 1 and a 2 most likely. Let's zoom out and see what that would be. Okay, so if it's the X, so there is 3 waves there, but this could be an A wave. Would that work? That would need to be 3 waves for this to be correct. That would need to be 3. Can I get 3 out of that? Yeah, 1 2. How about A, B, and C? I don't know. That's a tough one, guys. It just looks too much like to the downside to me. I'll tell you. It looks like the X wave is done. That could be a A wave. This could be the B wave coming up. A, B, C. Yeah, it still works that way, guys. Sorry, I started sometimes you can get lost in your own waves. And okay, so yeah, this is that looks like 5 waves down. Could be an A or a 1, followed by a 2 or a B. And so we want to see 3 waves. Now there is 3. This could be counted as 3 waves, but it does measure short. I like it. I like counting it better as I like counting it better as 5 waves here with an extended 5th. So we've got a 1 2 3 4 and a 5. It just measures better for me. And so the question is, okay, what do we have coming down? Well, we've got an A, B, C, or we've got a 1 2 3 working. So if we break this 1618, so if we break 116, guys, it looks like we're going to have more downside from here. But if we don't break that and continue up from here, that means we're going to have some upside. But how much are we going to have? Let's see here. Let me zoom back in here. I've been in and out. I feel like this video is all over the place. It's more of a think aloud with you guys, and I hope you appreciate it. I hope it's okay for you. We've got 1, 2. Yeah, there's a clear 5 waves there. That's an ABC. Ends before the 1618. It's really a good ABC there. So we need to really see 1 ABC. We need to see a good 1 wave followed by a 2, and then a 3, 4, 5 to get our basically our A, B, and a C. If that's a large 2 wave, this would be a 1 followed by a large 2, and then we're heading to the downside for 3. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're looking at. We want to see basically. I think we need to be expecting some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that does not break the high. And let me zoom back out here. Yeah, I'm just zooming in and out for detail, but yeah, let's show the wave here. Yeah, let's throw the fibs on that as well. A to B. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Looking for some 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 wave that does not break this high right here. Put a yellow line of death here, right there. For this count, for this particular count to be correct. Now there are other scenarios. The X wave might be being, this X wave could be an A, B, and a C, and it can break the high, but it can't break this high. So yellow line of death right here is our first line of defense. That's not yellow, is it? Let's make it yellow. There it is. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. That's our line of defense there, and then. Obviously, if we break the next high, this count is invalidated as well, obviously. So these are places where the count would be invalidated for sure. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting. This is what I'm looking based upon the current information that we have. If more information comes in that invalidates that, I will let you guys know. So I'm right now counting this as my X wave right here. That's 3 waves. Boom. Then we've got 5 waves to the downside. Then we've got, I'm thinking we're going to do, this could be 3 waves and we're going down from here. That's a possibility. So how do we know if that's going to happen? If this low is broken right here at 116.70, it's broken and decisively broken from here. Then we're going to the downside from here. But if it doesn't break and we actually have a pivot to the upside, we should be looking to see if 5 waves are made here and it stops at the 1-to-1 extension. If it does that, we're then going to be looking for downside from there, and this should be a large 1 wave followed by a 2 wave, and this will be 3. So that's what I'm looking for to see. If we get a wave extension that comes up past this yellow line of death and closes beyond it, okay, then we're looking at something different. We're looking at something totally different. Now, that could be 5 waves. That is 3 waves down. The only other way that we could get more downside and then more upside is that if this is a WXY, if this becomes a WXY, and that would be kind of a complex correction on the smaller time frame. It's the only way I can see. So even if this is invalid, I think the telltale is that when this is broken, this 111, 110 line is broken, that's when we'll know for certain that we've got downside coming. So yeah, right now we're trading in this range. We've got a couple of possibilities of counts. I hope that helps you see how we're thinking about what we're looking to trade. So is there a trade here? Yeah, you could, obviously, yeah, you should have hit this low right here. After that ABC was formed, your entry point should have been about 117, 118. If you didn't get in, we're not far off of that right now. So if we get a push down here and then a pivot, there's an entry point. Your stop loss is going to be, I mean, it'll be a short-term trade, but it'll be a trade nonetheless. Your stop loss is going to be, right below this blue line of death there. That would be a good place. Now, I like tight stop losses, and so that's where I would want to put it. Only a dollar or two off my target, but we got a potential here, a potential trade here for 132. So there's a potential trade there. All right, let's zoom in right here and see. Let's see if there's any validity to what I've been saying here. And this is the last time I'll zoom in. All right, finishing up the video right here. So what I'm seeing here is I just measure what's been made. We've got three clear waves. When I measure the first wave, we've got an extension to the 1276. That is interesting. That is very corrective in its nature, and so we want to watch and see what else could be being made. This could become a 1-2. This could become a 3 wave, and followed by a 4. And this could be the 4. Actually, that could be the 3 wave. This could be the 4 being made, and then 5. And so that is another possibility. Let's look at that. That would validate a downside movement. If we count this as a 1 and a 2. See how we came down to the 1276. That could be 1, 2, 3, and we're making the 4. That looks like it could be 5 waves there. 5, 3, 5. So yeah, let's check the fibs here. Measure this guy. We got a movement down here to the 1276. Looks like we got a good possibility for an upside here, an upside movement from here for an ABC. So this is a strong possibility, guys. Get rid of that. Let's put it this. Let's measure this and see what the retrace would be. So I can see my numbers. It's come up to the 38. The 382. Yeah, this has come up to the 382. That's a good 4 wave. A 4 wave could come up here to the 121. So yeah, guys, to be honest with you, we are just in kind of a no man's land right now until we see some greater clarity. It might be good to just stay on the sidelines. You might enter a long position with this tight stop loss, in case it heads up and it becomes clear and you don't miss that move. But oh man, right now it's just looking like no man's land. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. I've got some trading tutorials coming soon, but until then, in general, when I just step back, I'll just leave you with this. When I just step back and look at this wave, this thing looks like it just needs to come on down. Now, whether it goes up in the short term, and that's the big deal, guys. I really just believe we're heading down to this area, to this region. It just looks like it needs to come down here, just looking at it. But with that being said, whether we make another push to the upside before we come down, I cannot say. But we can't break this line if that happens. So you've got what to look for. I hope that helps you. I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday. Till the next video, you guys have a great day.